Yo, what is going on, everyone? It's your boy Pup. We are here for the ICP Week 7 against Cherry. We're both 1-5 at this point, but there is still hope since we did actually win last week. So there's still hope for us to make the playoffs. I think there's like 5 teams that are 2-4. But we're going to watch this game back. I played it last night and I was a little bit stupid with my audio. So hopefully we don't have any audio issues on this one. I'll play it back a little bit faster so we can get through it since I'm not thinking through all my decisions and everything. But, you know, they have a pretty scary team. Terra Rhyperior is the scariest, but they also brought the Terra Calyrex. Rhyperior is ground, fairy flying, and Calyrex is grass, fairy steel. So all very scary for me. I'm mostly scared of Terra flying on the Rhyperior since they do have lightning rod, so I can't really touch them with Electrode. So that's the idea with the leading with Electrode, is that even if the Rhyperior leads, I can Leaf Storm and get my eject pack out of there, which is pretty solid. Also things to know on my team: Booster Energy, Iron Jugu, Trick Lagging Tail, Weird Ear, very physically defensive. We have Rocky Helmet, Dash Bun. We have a Shuckaberry, physically defensive Clodsire that can always toxic the Rhyperior. And I have Scarf Primarina. So we'll see what ends up happening here. But yeah, I lead the Electrode. The only scary thing is if they have a Jolly Scarfed Overquill, which is the only, like, I mean, it's the only realistic lead that outspeeds me and knocks me out with Gunk Shot, but I can tear ice and get through that. But we have our eject back, so they intimidate me and I switch out. And I just completely forgot that the interaction worked like that. It's actually really funny. But it's nice because we get to go into Clodsire. I do have Spikes on this set, and Spikes look free versus Cherry's team as they have no remover on their side. And it really just affects every single Pokemon on their team. They're going to hard swap out to Rhyperior, which is fine. Makes me think weakness policy potentially, because I could have clicked Earthquake there. We get our Spike up and I get a free Toxic off here. It doesn't miss because we're a poison type. Just want to make sure that, you know, if they're sub here, it can get scary for sure. Sub plus Rock Polish. But they do just go for their Earthquake. We get to see the amount of damage from this, and it shows that they're max adamant basically. No banded or anything, but we would have lived a banded Terra Ground with our physical defense investment and that Shuckaberry. But now this Rhyperior is not as big of a threat by far. And I do have a couple of physically defensive options to switch into, namely this Weird Ear. This is going basically exactly how I wanted. I mean, the idea when I prepped it was to lead off with the Voltorb, but Volt switch out on the Overquill and then go into Clodsire, you know, eat a poison move or let them get Spike up. And then, you know, this same exact scenario would play out in the best case. So this is great. We go Weird Ear. We're going to get an Intimidate off, and we're very physically defensive. So we're chilling here as they just go for that EQ. It does a decent chunk even for being -1 and physically defensive. But here I really want to click Trick. My idea is to trick a Lagging Tail onto the Overquill that comes back out, or if they want to go out to anything else, it can be pretty solid for that as well. And then I just, you know, start clicking Body Slam, Psy Shield Bash versus them. And this just really makes sure that I cripple something. If the Rhyperior does end up staying in, then it's not a threat at all. Because everything on my team outruns it, even the Clodsire, which is important. And they can never Rock Polish, which is the bigger thing, although Toxic does take care of that already. But I do accurately predict the switch. They go out to Heracross, which is great here, especially if they're going to be Choice Scarfed for me, because Choice Scarf Weird Ear with Trick actually looks solid in this matchup. So we give them the Lagging Tail, and unfortunately, we get a Flame Orb, which sucks because I'm running physical this set. Because I really wanted to run Body Slam. I think it looked solid here to get Paras and then Psy Shield Bash. But I guess I should have just ran Special. It is what it is. I'm going to swap out here just because I can't take a Mega Horn. I know that I'm going to be faster than them because they have the Lagging Tail, but I can't knock them out since I'm not a special set. So unfortunate to get a Flame Orb on myself, but I can potentially trick it to another one of their Pokemon in the future. They do switch out here. Obviously, they go first because they were faster, you know. They're going to get Intimidate with Overquill, which is a good switch for them because I'm going out to my Dash Button here. So they can threaten me with a Poison move. A little bit scary if they are set up, but I do still have a Clodsire in the back that I can basically freely go out to. If they do want to pull a double or anything, it can be a little bit scary for me. But if I'm able to get another layer of Spikes up, it really hurts their team, limits this guy's switch-ins, limits the Heracross a lot as well, which is nice. And then the Rhyperior is taking a ton of chip from Toxic plus the 1 Spike that's already up, so I'm not too worried about that. I do have to worry about the Calyrex in the back though, because in the back of my mind I'm like, okay, I don't want to get swept by Calm Mindset, and it's very scary. I do think that Terra Steel makes it really tough for me versus them, because I do have Clodsire, but I can't Toxic it. So that's really what's in the back of my mind right now. They do pull a nice double, which, yeah, good play by them. They're going to send out their Mesprit, which doesn't really threaten me that much, but if they're Calm Mind plus Substitute, it's scary. And I mean, they predicted this Clodsire to come out, like, obviously, you know, it's my free switch. So it's got to be something that beats this Clodsire, or at least something that doesn't care at all. So I'm a little bit afraid about the Substitute variant. I'm a little bit afraid about offensive. Offensive Psyshock can be very scary for me. Since I'm just naturally especially defensive, I don't take very much to a Psychic or a Psychic Noise. But if they're offensive, it can be scary. So I'm just going to swap out. We're going to go out to Weird Ear here and potentially trick them back if I want. But we get to kind of scout it out. They're just going to be dual screens. So Light Clay dual screens makes a lot of sense in this matchup with their setup opportunities. It's making me think for sure Calm Mind on the one guy in the back, the Calyrex. For sure Rock Polish on the Rhyperior. And for sure Sword Stance or Rain Dance on the Overquill. So I'm going to predict them to swap out here. They do show to be U-turn, which is nice for me. As we're going to go Heracross, I just get a Body Slam off. It would have been nice to get a pair on the Mesprit or even this thing, although it doesn't matter as much. But I just go for that. I didn't want to trick them back their Flame Orb. That would have been really tough. So we're just going to go for a Side Shield Bash here. I'm sacking off my Weird Ear. I don't have a great swap here, especially when I predict them to potentially double out here. I can go into my Dash Bun, but I do want to save the HP on that Pokemon, so I'm able to take them on. But we're going to get our defense raise here, and they're just going to go for Earthquake. So either predicting Clodsire or the Dash Bun to come in, which is great for me because we're going to be able to knock this guy out. This Body Slam, it looks like it's going to KO. I think the roll is like 19.9 to 23 point something. And it looks like they're about 21%. So, I mean, it's like a 50-50. It doesn't really matter if they die or not. Because then I just go like a Voltorb or something afterwards, or Electrode. My bad, too much Little Cup. I did that in the battle too. When I was talking about it, I remember this because it was last night. I literally kept saying Voltorb. I kept saying stuff like that. It's like, man, it's not Little Cup. But you know, I was just prepping for my week 2 match, and I'm playing against Voltorb regular for LPDL, so maybe that's why. But they're taking their sweet old time here. They're going to go back out to Mesprit. This thing can knock me out with U-turn, which is not too big of a deal. But if they want to set up a screen, it might be nice to go for Body Slam on them. Trick is also a solid option, but they do just U-turn. So we're going to get some initiative here. They're going to knock out my Weird Ear, which is a really fun Pokemon. I really want to use it more. I might draft it soon in another league, although I'm not doing too much soon. Just a next stage of PPLNX Pokemon that I'm thinking about taking. They're going to go out to Rhyperior here. This is no big deal for my Dash Bun. I'm max physically defensive with Wish and Protect. I can always take this on. I'm also thinking about potentially going Prim, but if they Terra and burn that Terra, it can be scary since Prim looks really good. On hindsight, I probably should have gone Prim, because if they do burn the Terra, then it makes the Calyrex basically useless in the back. Makes it so I can beat it with a ton of Pokemon on my team, and I don't have to worry about the Terra that comes through from them. So probably should have gone Prim, but Dash Bun makes sense for me here too. They can never 2-hit KO me unless they like crit me. And even then, I Wish and Protect forever. I just get toxic damage on this guy. They want to swap around. They're going to get damage on everything. I'm also stalling out the screens. So we're sitting in a pretty good spot. They do get a like very high roll with that first Earthquake, but I mean, totally fine. I don't need my Wishes or Protect. I have 16 of them, and I'm not going to use them all in this battle. And I also learned from the first couple of weeks that I'm just not going to over predict. You know, they could easily swap out on this turn, which I do expect them to do, although they don't. But I lost multiple games this season already, literally just with Dash Bun predicting them to swap. So I'm not going to do that again. They do show Stone Edge, which is going to do a little bit more than EQ, but still not that big of a deal for me. And at this point, I mean, they should probably switch because I've shown that Wish Protect is just easily going to wall them. I do wish just to be safe in case they do go for a Stone Edge and just sack this Pokemon off. I feel like it's my best option. And this thing is basically just gone to Spikes plus any one hit, and then Toxic as well. So they can never switch it in, and it's slower than everything except for the Clodsire. So I'm pretty fine there. They do show to go into their Mesprit here, which is a little bit scary for sure, but I can freely baton pass into my Clodsire. They've shown that they're dual screens and U-turns, so I'm not predicting them to have an attack to attack me. If they do, it's going to be like maybe Psychic Noise, which would be scary. But they are faster than me, which is great there. So I'm going to go out to my Claude here, and we're just going to get a lot of HP back. Going to be basically at max, so I can take on the Overquill a little bit better. I mean, I'm also obviously here for the Barraskewda because I'm water absorb on this variant. But here I'm just thinking about spikes versus toxic. Because if they go out to the Calyrex, I really don't want them to Terra Steel in my face. Potentially get like weakness policy sort of stuff and not be able to toxic them. Get swept by Calm Mind variant or something like that. Agility is an option for them. So I'm a little bit scared about that. So I'm gonna spike on this turn. I don't think that they swap because they want to set up all their screens. So I accurately predict that spikes is going to make it a lot easier to take, easily just take down the Rhyperior. And then I toxic this turn, which is a great predict. I think they're going to go Calyrex here. I've shown that I most likely do not have a poison move. They've seen, I don't know if they've seen Earthquake yet even, but they end up going out to Overquill, which is fine for me. With the Intimidate and Reflect, I'm not going to do very much with my Earthquake, which is a little bit unfortunate. I'm definitely looking at this guy being offensive. Either Rain Dance or Sword Stance or both are solid options from them. Don't look like they're Spike Setter, or else they would have done it way earlier in the match. But I know that they're not going to click a poison move here. So I'm thinking about going out to Iron Jugu, who can potentially, do a lot of damage with Earth Power afterwards. Electrode or Prim are also solid options just to be able to like flip turn or volt switch around. I can click Earthquake, but I'm afraid about weakness policy plus Rain Dance on this guy. So it's a scary option for me. So I'm just going to make the safest in quotations play, which is to go out to Electrode. Doesn't die to anything except for like a Poison Jab or Gunk Shot, which no way they would go for it. They do a ton of damage. That's like adamant damage for sure. Or they're some sort of boosting item, like Muscle Band or something crazy, Black Glasses, something like that. But I can freely get a Volt Switch. It's not going to do very much damage to this guy. But I'm stalling out the turns, which is the most important part about this, is stalling out the turns. And I can go back out into my Clodsire, who should be able to decently take these hits. It's not going to be easy, especially if they get a defense drop, then it's going to force me to sack. But one hit, they don't get a drop, which is great. I can always just recover off in their face. If they want to crunch or if they want to sword stance on me, that's totally fine as well. Because I can Earthquake them into range. Doesn't look like they're Rain Dance, or else they would have gone for it already. So I'm not expecting the Swift Swim set anymore. We know, well, never mind. We saw Intimidate a long time ago. What am I talking about? I guess Sword Stance makes the most sense then. They're going to hit me, see my water absorb there. So if they were Sword Stance, then they could go for it now. Since they see that I'm not unaware, so it's not going to, not matter. But we're just going to Earthquake here. The Reflect is still up for one more turn. But this Earthquake into another one should put it into range. And I always live a crunch into a +2 crunch. So if they are weakness policy, or if they click Sword Stance. If they're both, it's pretty tough for me. It's really not that bad because they can't boost their speed. So always I can go out to like my Prim afterwards since I'm Choice Scarf. But they do end up getting a defense drop, which really sucks for me. It should not be in range of another crunch, which is great. If they were weakness policy or anything, it would have definitely put me in range. But they're self-destruct, and the defense drop put me in range of this. And by range, I mean it was a roll. So they got the roll to knock out my Claude, which is tough because it would have forced the Barraskewda to click like a Psychic Fangs or Drill Run or something, which is all I really wanted out of my Claude, because the Barraskewda does really run free versus me. I have to keep my Dash Bun alive, so I'm able to get some Rocky Helmet chip on that Pokemon and bring it into like range of any of my Pokemon after screens. It also is something that you guys should know, is that my Electrode is not faster than a Jolly Barraskewda, because I was stupid and I decided, oh yeah, I'm gonna make it faster than a Adamant Heracross with a Choice Scarf or a Trailblaze boost. And I didn't even think about the Jolly Barraskewda. Maybe I was being very aggressive with it. I don't know. This is in the middle of my 9 a.m. sociology class when I built this. As with a lot of my teams, I just build them in that class, because who needs sociology? But they bring out Calyrex here, we bring out Prim, and I'm just gonna click Moonblast. If they're Terra Steel and click Calm Mind, it can be really, really tough here. So I mean, I just have to try to get as much damage as possible, potentially get special attack drops, and just do a lot. This guy can absolutely 6-0 me. Great thing is that they don't get a lot of reliable recovery. They don't tear him, they get a special attack drop, and we do like 60% to this guy, which means he's totally in range. Well, after a Calm Mind boost and after some leftovers, it's looking like it's about a 50-50 roll if they do Terra Steel here. Because what we did, and I mean, it's probably in their favor to live if they Terra Steel. But by them not Terra Stealing, I'm pretty sure they're not Terra Steel on that guy. They're going to swap out to the Mesprit. We're going to do just under 50%. This is totally a roll to knock out to a KO, but definitely not in my favor. I'm not 100% sure on what kind of investment that Mesprit has, but it definitely has some speed to be, because it outran my dash bun. Definitely has HP. This looks like a pretty, like, you know, 50-50 roll for max HP. We don't end up getting it, and they get up a light screen, which makes my life a lot tougher. I'm thinking about swapping here, but it can be scary if they go for something like Healing Wish. It can be really scary if I swap, so I basically just have to stay in. The only scary Pokemon in the back for me, though, is that Barraskewda, so I'm not too worried. Barraskewda, if they're banded with Poison Jab, does knock me out and like does a ton of damage to Dash Bun, which is why it would have been really nice to have Claude in the back that basically walls that guy, or a lot of the moves I would want to click into my team. Basically cycle around with the spikes, the Rocky Helmet damage and everything would have been really solid for me. But I'm just going to click Moonblast here. If they want to sack this Pokemon, that's great for me. If they want to sack Calyrex or the Rhyperior, totally fine as well. They're just going to go out to the Rhyperior, which is a solid option for them. Just sack that Pokemon off. And they're going to be able to bring in that Barraskewda, which definitely should have Poison Jab in the matchup, into double fairies, which, you know, just makes a lot of sense. And we get to see if they're choice banded or not. I play 1,000,000% of the time, especially seeing that they're not heavy duty boots. If they were heavy duty boots, maybe I would have stayed in. But with them not being, I have to go Dash Bun. I have to put this Pokemon in range of Dark Pulse for my booster energy Iron Jugu behind screens. And for that, I need it to be just under 50%, maybe like 40 some. But we're going to get poisoned because Dash Bun's got poisoned by every single Pokemon that's clicked Poison Jab versus it this season, which has cost me a game already. You know, if I didn't get hacked like that before, I would be in a decent spot for playoffs here. But it's fine. This is still a scary matchup, an interesting end game here, but Dash Bun, I'm going to click Protect, try to get rid of the screens, turn a little bit more. Maybe a little bit of a misplay, because if they go hard Mesprit, they can end up getting a whatchamacallit. They can end up getting a Healing Wish off to their Calyrex, and then being scary for me. I'm not sure. You know, they're probably Terra Fairy to take on my Iron Jugu, which I think I would still be able to beat them with Prim, because I don't think that they're Terra Steel in that endgame. Even if they are, I have Earth Power on Jugu. So it's like 50-50s on Terras on that point. And even then, I think I have enough stuff in the back, with Electro doing a lot of damage to them as well. So it's a pretty tough spot. But now they're going to swap out to Mesprit, which is great for me. I mean, I click Play Rough this turn, just sacking my Dash Bun, getting extra damage. And now after the rocks, or after the spikes, that Barraskewda is always in range of me. And also notably, we take 39 damage from the poison, which means we're going to live on 1 HP after this turn. Calyrex comes in, and even if they were Terra Steel here, it probably just straight up dies to my Play Rough. Maybe a roll at this point, but they don't have Synthesis or anything. Giga Drain can get them back a couple points of HP, but yeah, we're just going to take them out with a Dash Bun there. Really nice. We get a crit, definitely does not matter. Even if they're Max Fist F, they super die there. And we're going to live on 1, which, I mean, it is what it is. It just prolongs the battle a little bit longer. But Barraskewda comes in. It's going to take a little bit of spikes damage. They're going to attack me. We saw that they're Life Orbs. They're going to take a ton of recoil. I was looking potentially to try to, you know, save some diff or anything like that. I just don't think it's worth it. I definitely could have like swapped around if I wanted to, but might as well just, you know, let them take all that damage, and we just go out to Iron Jugu. I can click any move I want, even with the light screen up, and it should be able to knock out. Even Flash Cannon probably knocks this guy out. And even if it doesn't, then the Life Orb would afterwards. I just click Dark Pulse though. This guy showing up after a 5-0 for, well, 5-kill performance last week. Really nice for me. Just great to have that booster in the back. And yeah, I think I'm learning how to use this team. So we have to win, what, one more game to be in the playoffs? I mean, if we win one more game, we're not in the playoffs. We have to count on all the other teams, because it's just a very scary situation. There are 5 teams that are 2 and 4 going into this week. So I think also 4 of them end up like playing each other. So like the 2 and 2. So we should be at worst like 10th place after this, potentially 9th, and it's top 8 make the playoffs. And then in the last week, I know at least 2 of those teams play each other again. So there's real good potential for us to make it if we're able to win and get some good differential. The 3-0 here was really solid for me. My differential is not even that bad. I think this puts me at 2 and 5 minus 8. So I mean, for having, you know, a lot of losses, they were all pretty low differential. So I'm in a decent spot. I definitely can make the playoffs, and I really hope we do. I love my team. I just haven't played the best. Just hasn't been my best season, but hopefully we're going to be able to bring it back. If we make it to the playoffs, I mean, there's a definite run for a chip here. And hopefully we're going to be able to do it. But yeah, if you guys do enjoy, please be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Trying to hit 500 subs by the end of the year. I'd really appreciate that from you guys. But that's going to be about it. See you in the next one. Peace.